Corie and I were going to share a little update with you today, talk about a few things. Probably the first thing we'd talk about is, I know a lot of you sent well wishes and good thoughts and prayers our way for Miss Cindy's service yesterday. As weird as it sounds to say a funeral service was nice, it was very nice. We just had it outside, just a graveside service is all that she wanted. The pastor, Chris Matheson, did a really wonderful job, and he even used Psalms 23, which was one of the things that I had thought about while we were at the funeral home, trying to pick out what was going to be inside her little, the program or her little remembrance brochure. And I was going to mention it because I knew that was one of her favorites, but Corie and Katie, mostly I think it was Corie, had some other verses that were very, yeah, or was it Katie? Okay, both
but
nice.
I liked them.
But, and so I didn't say anything because it doesn't matter. All the verses were wonderful. But so that was really special to me that's what he chose. And Paul sung, funny, on my blog today on Blind Pig and the Acorn, I kind of give a little overview of it, and I said that Paul sung one of Pap's original songs. And thankfully, I texted him before we did this video to ask him, he's working on a CD of Pap's original songs, and I wanted to know if it would be on there. And he said, well, no, because that's not one of Pap's songs. So I was wrong. It's an old Blue Sky Boys song. So I went back and updated the blog and said I was wrong. But we'll put the link down below so that you could go hear them do the song. It's the videos here on YouTube, just where you can hear the music. But it is a beautiful song, and it was perfect for that. And I'm not sure how I got in my mind that Daddy wrote it, but it was not. He did not write it. But it was still a beautiful song. And Matt picked out the songs, and then the other one was Amazing Grace. So that was really, really nice. And then Corie had some nice things to say. I don't know how she got the strength to talk, but she did, and she did very, very well. And I won't tell you all the things she said because I'm encouraging her that she should do a video about it. It was so special and so moving that I think it would help other people, and that was why she wanted to talk about it at the funeral. She was hopeful that something that Miss Cindy taught her would also help others. So you can be, it's kind of a tease, I guess, if she agrees to do it, maybe she will.
Yeah.
But it was very nice, and the church provided a meal afterwards that was very nice and give us time to talk with people that had come. So Ivy Funeral Home couldn't have been nicer. They've helped us in the past. They did Pap's funeral. They did Papa Wade's funeral, so we go way back with them. And Corie and Katie's helped John out sometimes when, sometimes people pass away and they don't have anybody that they could have sing or anything like that. So I know they've helped him over the years. And of course, we've been at lots of different funerals playing or just being there where they were in charge. So they're always fantastic, did a fantastic job. I think Corie and Katie's going to kind of do a video to talk about maybe how you felt about Miss Cindy and stuff, so you can watch that one. And mine and Matt's video Sunday night, we kind of talked about how it's weird that we miss Miss Cindy terribly, but there's also a relief to know that she's not suffering anymore. And if you've lost people, especially if you've lost someone that's sick, you can certainly understand that, I know. So we're just still working through that, and we'll have to work through it for a good long time to come, I know. But it is nice to know that she's resting easy, that she's not struggling, to breathe, or not struggling with pain anymore. All those different things, and people have been so kind. Your comments, your emails, your letters, your cards, your well wishes, just everything has just been totally uplifting, hasn't it, Corie? Through this whole thing, not just since she passed away, but even prior to that, when we first shared that she had, we found out that she had terminal cancer. So you've been so kind to us. We could just really never repay you for all that. I think she was on prayer chains all across the globe, all across the world, and that just meant so much to us. And I think that's why she had an easy time as far as this kind of stuff goes, and why, at 2 weeks, like on a Sunday, she walked from our house back to the car, rode over there. And then that week she never left the house again after that, but after that she got up some, sat in the living room, different things, and then in 2 weeks she was gone. So You know, she didn't have to struggle for a long time, and I know it was all those wonderful prayers. So we so appreciate each of you, everyone. I was thinking about, though, of course, as your mind does, think about different things. So many things. A lot of people told us, and I mentioned this in the other video, that we should share things with her that we wanted to. I didn't really feel that need, nor did any of us, because we were a close family. So anything I wanted to share with her, I've probably shared it multiple times in the 30 plus years that I knew her. So I didn't have those things, but I have been thinking about, since, I don't know if it's a day or so ago, I opened my freezer to get something out and was looked and seen a big bag, and at first I thought, what is that? Because it was like a Walmart bag kind of, instead of like a bag, a freezer bag. And then I remembered it's apple peels from last year. And I kept them because I was going to make jelly, but I didn't have time then. But what it reminded me of is that over the past few months, one of the few things that Miss Cindy still had a real appetite for was every morning we made her, until she got to where she didn't eat anything, but we made her an egg and toast and turkey bacon and some kind of fruit, grapes or an apple or whatever. And she'd call it clean plate. She was part of the clean plate club. She would eat that, and she would eat every bite of it. I tried like to trick her and say, you want that for supper too? But she usually wouldn't go for that. But every morning she would eat that, and she'd be part of the clean plate club. She'd eat it all. But I was, of course, I've always shared my jellies and things like that with her. And I think we've shared in other video how she used jelly to eat, but also she'd like put some vinegar in it. And Corie probably knows more about that than me, and some other things. And she would make a salad dressing with it. That would be her little touch of sweetness in it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, over that time, of course, I went through several jars of apple jelly until there was none left. That was what she liked, was the apple. And I told her, I said, I have peelings in my freezer, and I'll make you some, and I'll bring it over here. We won't run out, Well, I never did get it made, and eventually I took her a jar of mulberry jelly, and it was her mulberry tree where they come from, so she liked that, but I don't think she liked it as good as the apple. But when I seen those apple peelings, I kind of got teary-eyed, because I thought I never did get her jelly made. I should have made it, but it wasn't that I just didn't make it. It was just that life becomes so hectic, being there most of the time and here some of the time, and her kitchen's so tiny, and I never even thought about trying to make it there. I should have, though. That's when I thought that, I thought I didn't get her apple jelly made. Kind of made me sad. But that's the thing with grief. Lots of little things will jump out at you like that. One of my dear friends, Ginger, when she lost her daddy, probably been a month or two or something like that, and she called me one day and on the phone, and she was just crying so hard I couldn't understand her. And I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? I didn't know what had happened. And she finally got out. She said, I'm at the flea market, and I saw a knife. And she just the pocket knife made her just break down over her daddy. So I certainly know things are like that. I still do that over things with Pap, and he's been gone 7 years, and I'll see something and feel the quick hot tears come and get teary-eyed over him. So I know we'll have more apple peelings to find, more different things like that. But some other things I wanted to talk to you about, of course, is the cookbook. Still talking about the cookbook, still doing wonderfully. I'm still so excited about it. Me and Jim Casta both are. In fact, this morning, Corie and I filmed a video, so we'll share that with you in a day or so. But one of the recipes, the blackberry pie that's in here, Corie's favorite pie. So it's in the refrigerator, cooling right now, so she'll have to wait a little bit longer, but I know she's excited about that. But it's still just doing so well, and we'll put the link down below if you've not picked up your copy. But the main thing I want to talk about it is that this Saturday, July 1st, can you believe July is here?
No.
Can you believe it?
No.
I cannot believe it. Half the year gone. But July 1st at 3 p.m., 3 o'clock, we'll be at City Lights Bookstore in Sylva, North Carolina. City Lights Bookstore, Sylva, North Carolina. And they will have the book for sale if you want to buy it there. Jim and I both will be there, and we'll be signing books. And we'd love to meet you if you can come out. And we're going to talk a little bit there. We'll just be talking about the book. If we do it kind of probably the way we did in Bryson City, probably kind of along the same lines, talking about the book and how it started and how it come along, and then what's important to us in it. So we'd love to meet you though if you can come out. There'll be a few, that's kind of the last one that we've got scheduled, except there are a couple more that are in the works that, and I didn't write one of them down. One of them will be a Zoom thing, but hopefully, and I'm not sure if it will air as a Zoom thing or if it will be more like a podcast when it does, but I'll certainly let you know. But it's in July also, and Jim won't be able to be part of that one, so it'll just be me. And I'm ashamed that I can't remember the name of the publication, but I can't. I guess I could put it on the screen here when we go inside. And then the other one that I'm going to be at the museum, Cherokee County Museum. Bless you. Gesundheit.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, or I should say, in honor of Miss Cindy, scat there, Tom.
Scat there, Tom.
That's what she'd say, scat there, every time somebody sneezed. And I'm going to have to, I'll come back to that, or you remind me, and I'll tell that story. Anyway, but I'm going to be at the Cherokee County Museum. Teresa, the director of the museum, and I are working on that, and that probably will be sometime in July too, but I will announce that. And that would just be a book signing, so the museum's selling the books. You could come by and buy a book, and hopefully I can con Corie or Katie or both into coming with me, and maybe even Matt, so you'd be, now that Miss Cindy's gone, he'll be able to come to some of them with us. And so we'd love to meet you at that one too, especially, if you're more of a local distance in this end of the state or in the tri-state area, Tennessee or Georgia. We'd love to meet you, and I'll announce all those details once Teresa has firmed them up. And then I'll go back to the scat there, Tom. Yeah. So when I first met Miss Cindy, like I said, 30 plus years ago, she said that when somebody sneezed, and I thought, well, that's kind of weird and that's kind of odd. Well, later, many years later, when I started writing Blind Pig and the Acorn, I come across that somewhere. I don't remember where now. And then I realized, that's not just her. Lots of people say that. So it's kind of like Miss Cindy most of the time she would just say scat there. Sometimes especially when Corie and Katie was little, she'd say, scat there, Tom, your tail's in the gravy. So you think about how you sneeze kind of would sound like a cat. So there's lots of different variations of that found throughout Appalachia and maybe in other places too. So you'll have to tell us if you've heard a variation of the scat there or scat when somebody sneezes. But I loved, and she would say the whole thing when Corie and Katie was little, because of course with kids, you're trying to entertain them. But scat there, Tom, your tail's in the gravy. A cat tail in the gravy would make a big mess, wouldn't it?
Sure would.
Yeah, make a big mess. Well, what else was we going to talk about, Corie? You want to talk about your garden? I got to see Corie's garden on Sunday. It is beautiful, so lush. She's already got squash about that big. I don't have any squash yet. I think, is that our squirrel?
I think he's home.
I think our squirrel up above us is trying to fuss at us to get out of here. I hope he don't jump on our heads. If he does, we will go viral.
Great video, yeah.
It'll be a great video. So but yeah, your garden, it was beautiful. And I said, Corie, you've got squash. And she already knew. I was just surprised. But I was like, by 3 or 4 more days, you'll be eating squash. But it looks good.
Yeah, it's getting wild. I feel like I haven't been able to do much to it lately, but the squash is looking good, and I did some more onions, and I want to plant some more because we've pulled up a lot of them and eat them, and it's going pretty good. I'm pretty pleased. I mean, we're still fighting the slugs a little bit, but we're still got stuff coming in, and I've definitely still, when me and Austin went, I don't know, has it been a month ago now, and bought all those flowers, I hadn't planted none of them. So that's something I need to do, but
our lives have been turned upside down, but you'll get them planted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in any rush still. They'll wait for me, but I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, Corey's feels kind of like our garden, and Corey's both kind of looks like a jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling bad. The only one that doesn't look like a jungle is Granny's. It's just not doing good.
Yeah, and I don't really understand why.
So I hope before this week, or maybe even this weekend, me and Matt can take some compost down there and do some kind of fertilizer, because it's just not doing good at all.
What about that fish fertilizer you used to have? Did it really work?
It did, so we could try that. Yeah,
gosh,
it
that
helps.
stuff smells.
Yeah,
though.
it does smell, but we could try that, but
yeah,
we need to. So our garden is kind of like Corey's. I don't have any squash yet, though. She's way ahead of me. I've got some blooms on the cucumbers they've not bloomed out yet, but you can see them, they're just about to. So hopefully in another week or so, I'll have, maybe 2 weeks, have some cucumbers. And we've been eating tomatoes, just the little tomatoes are ripe so far, but Matt is anxiously awaiting the first tomato sandwich. He can't wait.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully we can share that with you. And I'm amazed that the beans and the peas and all that are not just, a lot of the beans especially, are not just climbing the cattle panel. They are, especially the rattlesnake beans in the front, they're already at the top and trying to lean over and hold hands, as Kenneth Roper would say, with the ones on the other side. So I know we're going to have a lot of beans. And everything else is looking good. I've noticed this morning that cucumbers, not only the blooms, but they're climbing up now. So
that's good.
I think it's doing good. I'm kind of like Corie, though. I feel like we've been gone from it for a long time. And I did notice, too, that I've got elderberries. They're just teeny tiny, but I hope that they will.
I can see them from here.
Yeah, I just saw them this morning. Over the weekend, Matt and I got to do a little bit of stuff, but we had another funeral, Kenneth Roper, if you saw that video. So we didn't get to do much, but hopefully we will. And our weather, that cool weather we've had, has turned into some heat. We've got some heat this week, but today's real breezy and
it's nice today.
Nice,
I've even got this little coat on.
Yeah, it's kind of breezy and nice. And Matt tells me by the weekend, though, it's going to be really, really hot.
And that's probably
I
be
said,
here
well,
to stay.
I guess he said it'd be here to stay. I said, well, you've already said that once, so we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. So if we forgot anything, Corie, that's about it, I think. Oh, one other thing I want to say. Every once in a while I have just a lot of people, maybe new people, that start watching and they want to know about the popsicles. So the popsicles that Matt and I eat, the brand is Outshine. And here where we live, you can get them at Walmart, but you can also get them at Ingles. That's our local grocery store. So you might want to just check wherever you're at. And they're really tasty popsicles, and they're supposed to be healthier. I don't know how, you'd have to judge for yourself healthier, but they are a healthy version of popsicle. And we've had so many people tell us that we should get sponsored by them, which I've never contacted them or anything, but I do think a few of you have told me that you contacted them, so I appreciate that. I appreciate you telling them that we probably have got at least some people to start eating Outshine popsicles.
They're good.
But we love them. My favorites, I don't know, I like the coconut and I like the peach a lot. Matt loves the grape. You love the coconut. I don't think Katie, I don't know if she likes what she likes.
She'd eat grape.
Yeah,
I mean, out of all the flavors, but I don't think she's wild about them.
We've tried the strawberries. They're good. The pineapples are good. Watermelon, good. Matt liked the lime. I didn't like that one as much, but he likes citrusy kind of things. But the coconut one is like a dessert. Me and Corie think it's just like a dessert.
Oh yeah, it's like coconut ice cream on a stick, basically.
And if you've watched us for a long time, you know that's the one Matt says is like suntan lotion.
With toenails.
With toenails.
Because it's got actual chunks of coconut.
I guess all of them kind of. I don't know if the grapes have chunks in them, but the pineapple has chunks, and the strawberry does. And
I don't mind. It's like people with orange juice and the pulp. I can't drink orange juice now, but I don't mind if the pulp's in it or not.
Yeah.
I drink it either way.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by to visit with us for a little bit while we update you about some things. And as always, we hope you'll just keep dropping back by, helping us celebrate Appalachia. I was trying to think of how Granny says Appalachia. Sometimes she says Appalachia, and sometimes she says
Appalachia.
Appalachia or something. She says. I don't
There's
know.
no telling with her.
Yeah. Well.
She's funny.
Yeah, those flowers right there are real pretty.
They are.
I love those cosmos. Those have just been beautiful. I don't think they were supposed to be that tall. I thought they were like miniature ones, but they are tall.
Those are pretty tall.
Yeah. Pretty though.
Those would be cool next year if I was able to plant some up next to my fence. Like not inside the fence, but on the outside.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
Kind of along through there.
Yeah, that'd be real pretty.
Do they take root in any kind of ground pretty easily?
I think they're pretty, yeah, because you can see there's some, well, you can't see from right here, but Katie planted some. She planted a wildflower mix, but it had some of them in it. And they're growing up there in that red clay, yeah, so I think they'd be fun.
I could do that next year. Is there any flowers that you can still plant right now?
Yeah, we've got time. All the flower seed we planted down there, In front of the pumpkins, I wanted in the winter squash, I wanted a whole row down through there. The 6 inches of rain totally washed them. They're gone. There's just like a little river right where they's at.
Low laying place,
yeah, they're just gone. So I would like to go back down there and plant some. And then I've got so many marigolds up here. I just kind of went crazy over them. I thought about trying to dig some up and put them, but I don't know if they'd transplant good. Probably just need to go down there and plant some seeds and try again, and plant them over more instead of in that way if it washes again, because it's just like a little channel. Just went right down through there.
Straight down.
But we had so much rain all at once.
Oh, I know. I seen at Granny's, and I've seen the daylilies that are the burgundy or maroon, whatever you want to call them. And then I've got a pink one, and I got it from Lowe's, but it was more of a deep pink, and it only had one bloom on it, and that was it. So it may not do more until next year. But Granny's got 2 pink ones right next to the basement window on this front side of the house, and they're more of a light pink.
Pretty. I think I've seen them.
You got a white one off the bank.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. I think that's yellow. Yeah, yellow. That's yellow down there. It looked
plum white to me.
I used to have all kinds of colors, and I had most of them in that bed over there that we've just let the woods took over, I just
But that'd be cool.
There's probably still some over there. If you see any of them, though, you definitely should dig them up and move them, especially
too late,
these over
though?
here.
Like while they're blooming, is that bad to move them?
No, I mean, they won't bloom for you this year, but if you get them to live, then they'll bloom next year, So I know there is a better time to do stuff like that, but if somebody's giving you, I'm going to take it and just hope it lives,
Well, the dailies where I want to put them right there, on the inside of the fence, right next to where you step off the deck, where I removed that forsythia bush, those orange ones that are there, I don't know if you remember, but when y'all were there that day helping us work outside back in the early spring when it was still cold, we took a bunch of those, and Austin put them there. And we didn't even really dig much of a hole. We just set them down, and I didn't even think they'd survive, but they did.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah.
One thing, I've known this for a long time, but we should try, especially if you get a lot going, is that they're edible. Daylilies are, so we should try eating some of them.
That'd be interesting.
I've never ate any of them.
Which part do you eat?
I think you can eat them all, but definitely the buds. But then you're not going to get the flower, because of course if you eat them before. But
you could fry them in butter, and I'm sure.
And Cousin Debbie has all kinds of
them,
and she said she'd be glad to share if we come over there. So I need to do that. I love those little flowers that she gave Granny, and Granny shared with me that go down the steps. I love them.
Those are pretty.
I don't know what kind they are. I could need to use your daddy's app thing. And find them.
I love flowers. It's just a simple pleasure in life. I don't think I've ever seen a flower I didn't like.
I know, and so many years I just focused on, when we first lived here, I focused only on flowers, and then I realized I should be growing some food, and then I just ditched all the flowers. So the last 3 or 4 years where I've tried to add flowers, I've really loved it. And it makes sense because bees like them,
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I'm so glad I said that. Yesterday when you were talking, and I swear it was about the time that you said something about Pap, because of the grave. Right behind you, Chris was right there and you were right there. It was kind of between you, back behind you, a hummingbird come and just hovered.
Really?
And then left. Yes, I forgot to tell you all day yesterday because I'd think of it and then somebody talked to me and I'd forget. So when I said bees, that reminded me.
That's
it just
interesting.
hovered right over behind you, and like it was looking at all of us and then took off.
And then took off. That's interesting.
Yeah. I figured you'd like that.
Oh, yeah. I noticed when we were in the procession, there was 2 hawks before we ever even turned on to Morgan Hill, and then I heard a hawk when Chris was talking.
Could y'all see John in the front in the hearse?
Yeah, and he's waving at people and telling them. I wondered what he was doing, but he was mad that they wouldn't stop.
He was telling them.
95%
stopped,
did.
yeah. But we were just like, oh my gosh.
But there was a few that didn't.
Katie's like, well, this is his business. He takes it serious. But I was so honored by the people. Like even in town when we pulled out of the funeral, they stopped.
Yeah.
They were pulled over
Most
already.
of them did, and that was really kind.
Yeah, it's so kind. I always do that.
Yeah,
too.
I always
You just think whoever they are, they're hurting.
I know.
You don't ever know the circumstances, but you're hurting. And then somebody lives in your community's gone.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't know them. So I love that tradition.
That really nice man, Kim told me, and I noticed it right away back, when we were processing at Chrissy and Annie's funeral. We got close It's across from the guy who does the chainsaw carvings. It was close to that area. I think
Yeah.
it's right before you get to it. But there was a
Yeah.
guy working outside, and he
stopped
and held his hat down and just stood there.
At Billy Stiles's, there was 2 people weed eating on that bank,
Yeah.
and one of them took
One
his
of them-
hat
oh,
off.
did he?
He took his hat off and just stood there.
I noticed him, but I
I
didn't
mean, he
realize
was like
had
on
his
the
hat
bank,
off.
so it
Yeah.
wasn't like he could turn around and
Yeah.
look, but he took his hat off and stood there, and I was like,
That's sweet.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's a nice thing. You still see humanity.
Yeah, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the clouds, they're beautiful.
They are. It's fun to
Very
just sit
peaceful.
and look.
I know.
Especially on a clear day. This is a great day
Oh
to
yeah,
see
when I
hogs.
woke up this morning and I was after I'd been up a while and I was looking out the window, I was like blue sky, beautiful green back,
I know.
against it, right out through here's where I was looking. Like, this is amazing. I'm so thankful.
I
God
know.
is good, even in the midst of
Absolutely.
sadness.
Absolutely. It was funny. I sent you the thing I read this morning.
Yeah.
Whenever you see verses back to back like that, because I could have picked, I
Yeah.
Googled an article and I scrolled through a bunch and I just read a random one. I could have read any one, and then that was the same
Yeah.
verse that was in the devotional, which is interesting.
That's sweet. Yeah,
So-
I like it when that happens. God
Yeah.
wink.
It is, yeah. I always feel like that's, him saying,
I felt
pay
like that
attention
when
to
Chris, when he started talking, and then he said, "This is, you may."
this cliche, but it's
Yeah.
what we feel like we're.
Yeah, and I was like, yes, that
Yeah,
was
this is
exactly.
perfect.
It was perfect. I've been thinking of this since we were at the funeral home,
Yeah.
deciding things. So I was like, it's perfect. Yeah, immediately made me tear up because I was
Yeah.
like, thank you, God,
Yeah.
because she loved that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize she liked that verse so much. I know she must have liked Psalms 27 and 28 because in some of her notes that I have in my Bible, she wrote them down.
Yeah, yeah.
She picked it was certain verses of Psalms 27 and 28.
Mm.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, very peaceful. I hope your daddy's had a good day back at work.
I hope so. Hope Austin has too.
Yeah.
Thought I saw these, but guess not.
If you did, all of them will be wanting to see it too.
Absolutely. She does love lizards. That's.
It's her nemesis. She can't really catch them. She just likes to try.
She's had a hold of one once or twice, and I've made her put it down.
Mm.
She just hurt it. There's no need for that. And plus, they're nasty. I don't want her chewing on them and then licking me. Gross.
What time was Mark and Maddie leaving?
I'd say they're gone. When I come through this morning, their car wasn't there.
It's already gone.
So, were they flying?
Yeah, they
Right.
flew into Atlanta, I think.
No. That's a ordeal to get to the
Yeah.
airport, but then at least be about 2 hours max the flight would be, and you'd be home. Maybe
Yeah,
hour
but then
and
they
a
have
half.
to drive. I thought he said something about driving to Boston, and then so I guess they have to drive.
Boston, though, still wouldn't be, but I wouldn't think 2 or 3 hours from where they're at.
Mm.
But all day traveling.
Yeah.
But it's awful sweet of them to come. I just hate they got so dablame sick.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And they come, but then they didn't even get to go to the service.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least someone was, because see, if they were both sick like that, they would have just had to deal,
Yeah,
still
that's
take
what
care
I said.
of the
Like
baby.
Steve and Kim got to take care of Alec.
Yeah.
And we all did. All got to see him. So funny when he done his squats. Did you see that? No, it's so funny. Steve's like, squat, do a squat. And he just do them and then stand back up and look at Steve. Mark's taught him to
I
do
didn't
the
see
squat.
that.
So
That does
it was
not surprise me,
hilarious.
though.
It was so cute. Steve finally put him down and he's crawling around. He went over right to the chairs and stood up because he can do that. And then he said, okay, show everybody how you can squat. Do a squat. And he squatted down. He squatted.
That's hilarious.
Oh gosh, I said Mark's probably got him some baby dumbbells.
There are some I've seen on the internet, like little kids who do CrossFit. He will be one of those
Yeah,
kids.
he will be. Oh gosh.
Mark will be training him for the.
Yeah. Look at that big cloud. It's pretty.
What was it that we used to watch?
The ninja thing. Oh gosh.
Mark
yeah.
will be training him for that.
Probably.
Me and Austin went through a spell before we were married. We watched a bunch of them.
We used to watch them. They're interesting just to see. I could never do any
Oh,
of them. I couldn't even do the first thing.
Yeah,
but it's
forget it.
interesting. All right, we gotta go. It's nice to
Something's
sit
making me
down
feel
here.
sneezy.
Well, you done sneezed once. Maybe it's just the wind. It's nice, ain't it?
It is.
This is beautiful weather.
No, it is.
Just blew out all the humidity that was here yesterday.
Yeah, it ain't really a bit humid today.
All right, let's go. Let's go check the pie.
Did you say check the pie?
I knew that would wake you up.
I'm there. Absolutely. Pie time.